rapidly things were going to change. Is 360 immersive? I mean, basically going into ability to be able to use different technologies. What's going to be happening with your company?
Yeah. So for the last 5 years, we've been in business since 2001, but for the last 5 years, we've been focused on custom content development for VR applications. And what we realized, and it really came to light very quickly and accelerated, we realized we needed to be able to provide and eliminate those barriers of VR. Number one barrier is cost. So what we realized and accelerated due to COVID is the ability to develop generalized off-the-shelf training, those micro training sessions I talked about, to be able to create those affordably and get them out into the marketplaces as quickly as possible. So we created a trademark, VR for the masses, because that's our goal, is to eliminate the barriers to entry for the commercial marketplace to begin experimenting with this technology. And that was huge. And we flipped our whole revenue model. Middle of March, we're like, okay, 90% of our revenue this year is not going to be custom development. It's going to have to be off the shelf. And how are we going to do that? And so we just rallied the team together and said, what are we going to do? And then you've got the challenge of putting stuff on your face. Like, is everybody going to want to run around and share virtual reality headsets in training classrooms? I mean, there were a lot of challenges that we had to confront. A shortage of parts coming out of China to develop, to build hardware devices, and they became a little bit difficult to even purchase. I mean, there was a lot of things that came in, so we've pivoted substantially in order to get that VR for the masses and not having to consume our content, making things VR ready, so that when organizations are ready to invest in VR, everything has already been, the foundation has been laid using our software platform we developed.
And can you give us just an example of an application?
Yeah, so we're going to be bringing to market in the next quarter a supplement to an OSHA 10 or an OSHA 30 course. So most organizations, they follow the OSHA guidelines, right? And what we're developing is a bundle of software for general industry and also construction, where organizations would be able to download this software application. And then when they're doing instructor-led or e-learning, because this can be tied right into a learning management system, these bundles of software, they'll be able to access that content right through a PC or through a VR headset. But our first product is going to be that OSHA 10, OSHA 30 supplemental packs of experiences.
Wow.
And that's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know that your partner there, David Cleverton, has worked a lot on video. It's interesting because when you just talk, first of all, when I talked with David, it's always about video and high definition and all these other things, and now VR and augmented reality and all these other type of things. Would you call yourself a cutting edge company?
Oh, beyond a shadow of a doubt. David, I mean, that's his legacy, right? This is his legacy. He's got decades of experience in storytelling. And so really what we're doing is we've always stayed kind of out in front of it. And it's been a blessing and a curse. A curse because we're so far out in front of it, the adoption curve for technology, right? We're still at the very, pretty much the infancy of it. But David's always kept the vision for the technology and what's next, always at the forefront in our decision making. And so cutting edge at 110%, because when the inflection point comes for adoption, we're so well positioned, it's not even funny. I mean, we will ride that curve into success. So yeah, it's very exciting.
It's good. It's kind of like when you talk about innovative disruption, It's really to anticipate what your customers are going to need today, but more importantly, what they need into the future, right? So,
Absolutely.
and that's what you're doing because this new technology. And what do you see as the adoption? I mean, you talked about just briefly about people wanting to wear headsets on the VR side. What's accelerating virtual reality, and what's inhibiting virtual reality?
So the common inhibitors had always been cost, almost number one,
Like you were saying.
lack of quality content. And we know in training and education, that's been a problem for decades since PowerPoint, right? And then the last is accessibility or scalability of it. And so those are my top three, I would say. And so what we've been able to do is by eliminating, really focusing on those three initiatives, we've been able to create a software platform where we can rapidly produce content now. And again, we're talking about keeping it general in nature, but we can rapidly produce this content. So
what a great background you have. I mean, seriously, that's
the greatest part, Jay, is do not have a quote unquote. I'm not an engineer. I'm a business major. I have an MBA. You don't have to be necessarily a subject matter expert, but when you see something in technology that you think can help others, you just find a way. You surround yourself with really smart people, and you find a way to bring it to life. And that's what I do for my team. So pretty cool.
Tell us how 360 Immersive uses this. What Toffler said: the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Tell us how that applies for 360 Immersive.
That's a great question. Here's what I would say. I have a 13-year-old daughter. The way that she learns right now is rapidly different than the way that I learned, and probably the way that you learned too. Right. She's teaching herself, like I said, I told you earlier, she's teaching herself geometry during summer school. The ability to be able to consume content in a multitude of different mediums, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's YouTube, it's a video, it's a podcast. The ability to be able to be curious enough to want information and then go out and find that information as this world evolves as rapidly as it is. We don't even know what's around the next corner. Right. But being able to go advocate for yourself. If you've got a question, go find the information, and the ability to be okay with making mistakes and really embracing that and making that part of a culture, whether it's in your home or in your business. I mean, just that ability to evolve and be okay with learning and failing and trying again, and letting that guide our passion and our vision for ourselves is something that I'm not sure had ever really been explored. And now we're forced to explore it and embrace it and find new ways to solve problems. So
now you throw, I really love that, because you're right. The way that she's learning, I mean, I remember when I was doing something that was thinking of new ways to doing it, I would research a lot in periodicals, right?
Go to the library.
Yeah, exactly, library. And they were released every 30 days, right? And then you're trying to get up this stuff, and you're trying to go back and forth from ones that were released a year ago because you didn't have the rapid change of information. Now your daughter, and you give her a task or some learning deal, and she's got the world. I mean, she can find immediacy. And so it just this rapid change and ability to learn is accelerated, hasn't it?
It really has. And
how's
like
COVID with that? How's it exchange? I mean, for us, it seems like virtual learning has been one of those things that COVID-19 is changing right now. Do you see that as well?
Oh my goodness. Here's what I can tell you. There's unlimited potential right now. And it's funny because we were in, like I said, that this last 5 years, we're still in the very infancy of the adoption curve for virtual reality in the workplace, right? For training and education for adult learners. That's our focus. But the gap right now that we're trying to fill is filling itself. We had a technology that was looking for a problem to solve. Well, guess what? Now we have a problem to solve. Remote learning, remote ed training of team members. How do you make PowerPoint presentations more engaging when you're a virtual instructor now? How do you gather teams of people and try to capture their attention? Now we have a problem, and now we have a solution, and that's what was missing for us. And the urgency. Now there's an urgency. Does that make sense?
It makes a total lot of sense. I love that how you connected that with the urgency side. And I really think that's it's interesting, because I think that you are right. I remember when I worked in the wireless industry, and we were looking at the next generation of all of the smartphones, right?
Yeah.
And where we are today, and how this accelerated, and how it helps us with mobility and the ability to be able to solve and get information and get from point A to point B. I mean, just little simple things that we now take for granted that we used to be much more arduous. And I think that's going to be the same way with that. So here's what I would like, Jen. I would love it to have you come back on Innovation Matters with maybe some video to show. I mean, an application so people can see this maybe in the future. As you get something that starts rolling out, I'd love you to be able to show what it's like, and our ability to be able to highlight really the magnificent work that 360 Immersive is doing.
I would be absolutely honored. And if we didn't have Jake, who's going to come up next and talk all about Boise CodeWorks, I would be like, we'll do it right now. I've got this Zoom thing down.
Well, we'll schedule you on the future one, and we'll make sure we get that, because I really I'm excited about the work that you're doing, the 360 Immersive, and how you're at the front of the spear when it comes down to VR and learning and education. So let's do that. So,
perfect. Thank you for the invitation. I'll take you up on that.
That sounds great. We'll have you in the future here. Thank you so much, Jen. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for all you do.
I will. I'm going to hang on so I can also hear what Jake's got going on.
Okay, great. Well, now we get the chance to move over to Jake Overall, who is the CEO and founder of Boise CodeWorks. Jake, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it. Thank you so much. I love the logo in the background. You guys have moved your offices recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We moved brand new offices, big upgrade for us. So we are super excited.
Well, hey, Jake, tell everybody about what Boise CodeWorks does.
Yeah, sure. So CodeWorks is what's traditionally known as a developer bootcamp, right? And a developer bootcamp is the idea of giving someone a skill or a trade that will get them employed very, very quickly, right? And so what we primarily do here at CodeWorks is we take individuals who want to get into the developer industry, and we train them with the technical skills necessary, and then help place them with local companies here in the Valley.
Just I know I said that you help place company. I mean, a lot of these are individuals that are trying to find a new career path, that have maybe they've always been interested in technology or coding, and they found it. How do you find these individuals that you're placing in companies like Micron and In Time Tech and so forth?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we do, kind of from our side of the fence, is there's an entrance exam just to get into our program, right? And so what we've done is we've developed a free course that's just kind of an introductory, get your feet wet, kind of experience what it even is to be a developer, right? And so we've put that together, and we have anyone who thinks they might be interested in kind of changing careers, like you said, go through that pre-course work first. And then actually, once they finish it, they come in and they sit with us to go through a technical interview. And then as long as they actually pass the technical interview and kind of show that aptitude, then we enroll them in the program. And then it's eat, sleep, breathe code to get you to that employable level in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah, I'm amazed. You've had really good placement rates too. I mean, it's for what you do. But didn't talk about how you started CodeWorks. I think this is an interesting story.
Yeah, so like many of our students, I myself, I actually didn't go to college to become a software developer. I went to college and actually got a degree in nursing.
Yeah.
And so I was a nurse. I was working for a home health and hospice company. I kind of, because I had some pretty decent skill with the computer just to begin with, I found myself finding a promotion after promotion. And I entered into the nursing industry right during the time where everything needed to shift from paper charting to electronic charting. And so having some basic skills with computers really helped me just kind of climb that ladder very quickly into management. And I ended up becoming director of nursing and came across this problem, kind of like Jennifer was talking about. All of a sudden, we have this problem of needing to get nurses trained on how to use technology and, quite frankly, electronic charting, which was just a very daunting task. And I ended up being kind of at the forefront for training and kind of leading that. And one of the things that was mandated for the home health and hospice companies was having to make the change, right? And needing to be able to do so in X amount of time. And so I had this problem. And in order to find a solution that actually worked for us for this particular company, I actually ended up saying, well, maybe I can build a piece of software that these nurses will actually know how to use. Coming from the nursing perspective, I kind of knew how they thought, how they would go about, and how they would need to approach the software. So I built a piece of software specifically for our needs and for our company, and then just kind of fell in love with software development during that process. And it was shortly after kind of making this transition, getting everyone on board, getting into electronic charting, I found myself, instead of being the director of nursing, 99% of my day was consumed with writing software. And I thought, this is absolutely just what I love. I love writing software. It's so much fun.
I love it when you say the word consumed by writing software. That's pretty awesome. So
yeah, it definitely.
And then didn't it? I remember meeting with you when we had Idaho Department of Labor director,
Yep.
and we were up. This was almost 6 years ago. It seems like.
Yeah.
Your brother came into this now, right? And talk about that part of it.
Yeah. So kind of after making this transition into being a software developer, my brother and I, we sat down, we were talking. There's this huge, and I mean just massive shortage of people who are actually skilled as software developers. And so Matt and I were discussing, ways that we could solve this problem and kind of the struggles that we run into with just training anyone and getting them up to speed at a particular company. And so we sat down and we said, hey, let's actually start training individuals ourselves, and let's teach them what we actually need so that we can turn around and hire them, because that's quite frankly what we needed, right? And so CodeWorks was kind of born out of this idea of saying, we have a need just for talented people in general. There's a lot of very, very smart people out there. Let's give them the skills that they need to become software developers. And then we just kind of skyrocketed from there, right? The initial thought was, I'm going to train these people and hire them myself. And quite frankly, after talking and making employer connections and things of that nature, it's this tech shortage is just massive, and everyone is chomping at the bit to scoop up talented people.
Yeah, everybody's been looking. I mean, it's one of the highest demand jobs that have shortages in Idaho, according to the Idaho Department of Labor. So this is great. So you and Matt started this, and what's very interesting? What's happened with you based upon COVID-19 and virtual learning? What's going on now?
Yeah, COVID definitely, from an education side of things, it's been a whole hurdle to tackle in general. But work remote, work from home, and I think what we've seen a lot during COVID is that demand just skyrocket, right? And there's a certain amount of just basic computing skill you need to be employable to work from home, right? And then there's that next level, which is, you know, being able to be a software developer and identify problems and ultimately come up with business solutions, kind of from a software standpoint. And so one of the things that we've done to kind of help accommodate that is we've actually worked into the curriculum the concept of teaching our students the importance of just being able to work from home, right? The importance of being able to be professional on a Zoom call or something of this nature, and you know the importance of proper, I guess, work from home etiquette type of idea. There's been a lot of that.
And that's you know, I just was sitting there. I remember when we first met, is the idea is that you were maybe going to try to, I don't want to call them outposts, but you were going to open up these places maybe in Idaho Falls or, you know, and you know, it's just you have to have a certain inertia that's taking place when you do this, right? So you have enough to really warrant it. Are you thinking of with this next iteration or next class you're bringing on? Are you going to do any of this virtual, or are you doing most of this still in person?
So we are currently in the works of actually developing a full immersive course that will be 100% online. You know, that being said, we haven't gotten away from the idea of saying, yes, we'd love to have these satellite locations closer to, you know, Idaho Falls or Northern Idaho, things of that nature. One of the challenges that I think everyone just kind of faces is, or I guess what students will face coming through the program is finding a job, right? And one of the biggest things about being able to find a job is being able to network within the community. And so we have a great community here in Boise, and you know, Boise is very rapidly becoming this giant tech hub. You know, we have software development companies just all over Boise that you would never even think. We have companies that are based in California, but their entire dev team is here in Boise. And so that's one of those things where, you know, there's a lot of jobs here in Boise. So, you know, we're at that point of, you know, we can't even keep Boise filled with all the graduates that we're putting out. And so, you know, we're trying to make sure that we serve Boise first, type of idea before we really focus on those.
And where the jobs, and Boise probably has about 70% of the tech industry in it, right? So we can see where that. I think that's a very good point. You got to go where the jobs, where the employment jobs are, because that's who you're fulfilling, who you're meeting the needs for right now.
Right, and even with everything going remote, you know, that initial getting the job still requires that human interaction, that human connection type of idea, and that's where, you know, being local can definitely help.
So Jake, I have to ask the question because I'm just looking at your shirt that says Worlds. What's on the bottom of that shirt?
So the shirt actually says World's Okayest Developer.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Like
this was a gift from my staff.
I got you. Okay, so let's say that right now we're doing a deal with what Alvin Toffler said, and look at your thoughts on it. We just got Jen's on this one, but talking about literacy, says the illiterate of the 21st century will be not by those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. What do you think?
I definitely, I've heard that phrase before, and I think it's 1000% absolutely true. The literacy in today's world, with as quickly as everything changes, it's important to be able to identify and say, you know, these are the things that are important now, and understand that just because it's important today doesn't mean it's even going to exist in 3 to 5 years. And that's very true with different programming languages, with technology in general. Like, I don't know anyone who is really happy that their phone is 5 years old, right? We as humans, we love the new shiny toys and things of that nature, and we're used to being able to say, hey, I get a brand new phone every 2 years. And right about that 2-year mark, you start realizing, yeah, this phone's really slow. It's not very performant. It's kind of blah, 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 right? And that's just one very small sliver of exactly what we're talking about. You may get the next phone that comes out and you have to relearn how to use some of the features, right? Some of the software has changed. Some of the apps are different. Everything has different icons. So much of that just changes on a regular basis that I think absolutely you have to be able to adapt, improvise, overcome type of idea, right?
Yeah, I love it. It's, I know Josh Olson talked about how you get so many people coming from different. I mean, I was just stunned how many different people you get from different industries that really don't have a background with technology or anything. And here you might have a farm, someone that grew up on a farm that doesn't have any experience. They want to come in and be that. I mean, don't you see? I mean, a whole wide range of people that are looking to change their careers into
Yeah, we definitely do, right? And that's actually one of the biggest things that I just love about CodeWorks and what we do. We've had people from computer science majors come through our program, down to the people who were hot tar roofers, and be able to actually come through our program and leave with a brand new career. One story that I actually really do, I like to tell, and I probably tell this one often enough, but we had a steel worker, welder, for like big high-res buildings and things of that nature. He nearly died on the job, and his wife was telling him, you got to find a new job. Like, this is just too risky. And so he actually ended up coming through our program with zero background as anything development, right? And he was like, I barely use computers, and he was able to kind of get through our pre-course work, make it through our technical challenge, had that aptitude and the passion to learn, and ended up being one of the very first people hired out of his class, with a career that his wage actually matched what he left coming into the industry.
Wow. So how do you make sure that you stay cutting edge on what you teach in your cohort, your CodeWorks cohorts?
Yeah. One of the most important things for us, and this was from the very beginning of when we started teaching, Matt and I always agreed that our teachers have to be industry professionals, right? They have to actually sit down and write code. They have to be building applications, so that way they are staying current. We make sure that our teachers all have certifications from Microsoft and things of that nature. So that's one side of the fence, that we ourselves make sure that we're actually staying up and writing apps that are still used today. It's our goal to publish something at least once a year type of idea. And then from the other side of things, we lean very heavily on our employer partners here in the Valley as well. We bring them in for like a PAC meeting type idea. We have alumni councils. And so we just simply ask those questions of, what do you guys need? What are you using? Are we actually delivering with the education that you guys need for these people to be employable? And so we adapt our curriculum based upon the needs of our employers.
No, that makes total sense. So you keep the sauce sharp, right? For your
Absolutely.
staff, and then you get the other from industry and what their needs are, so you can make sure you deliver on those. I love it. So we really do appreciate what CodeWorks does, Jake. Thanks for you and Matt and your team for all that you do, and you starting and growing that Sierra, because I know Matt, I think, came up from taking something similar, we won't mention who, in Utah. And we really love that you brought it to Boise. So thank you for doing that and growing CodeWorks here.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it. We love the Treasure Valley, and just love helping the students connect and change their lives.
That sounds great. And we'll look forward to having you on in a future time too, because there are a lot of things changing in your world. So we want to keep abreast of that. So that'd be great. So
yeah, thanks so much, Jay.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Cool, thanks.
We hope you'll keep following us on YouTube and continue to join us on our weekly webcast. You can view previous sessions and download a reminder to your calendar at, you can go to the IdahoTechCouncil.org if you'd like to get that. So we'd like to thank Jake and Jennifer for their time with us today. We're really excited about CodeWorks and 360 Immersive and what they do. Next week, we will have the community college scene in Idaho. Todd Schwartz, College of Southern Idaho, Rick Amon with College of Eastern Idaho, Burt Glandon with College of Western Idaho, and Rick McLennan with Northern Idaho College will join us. We're going to leave you with another thought here. Ideas without action aren't ideas, they're regrets, according to Steve Jobs. So let's keep ourselves current and keep actions that we're going towards our ideas becoming reality. So this is Jay Larson with the Idaho Technology Council, keeping you connected with industry and government, because in Idaho, innovation matters. Have a great week.